Yo guys, and welcome to Uncommon Sense. My name is Theo. Little bit of background info about me before we get into it. I used to be a skinny fat, partying, degenerate, loser kind of guy until that lifestyle finally didn't work out for me anymore. I started having daily panic attacks that were so brutal that I was faced with a decision of either eventually killing myself or changing my life, and I chose the latter. And so for a little bit over 3 years, I've been on this very successful journey into fitness, health, self-improvement in general. And so a big part of my regimen, if you will, is the snake diet that I've practiced for a little bit more than 2 years now. And so I figured in this video I'm gonna give you just my impromptu review, my opinion, my experiences, what I've learned, what I like about it, and maybe what I don't like about it. So let's get into it. I decided to start doing the fasting, prolonged fasting. Well, when I got into all of this, I was intrigued by anything I heard that was related to health and fitness and improving yourself and new challenges like that. And so I had thought a little bit about fasting, but then I was in a social situation with a Canadian guy that I wasn't directly involved in this specific conversation, but I just heard him say something, and when I'm fasting, I do this. So I asked him, why do you fast? And he told me that, well, I think there are many health benefits to it, but also growing up, we didn't have so much money. So it was actually a strategy to do some fasting to get by. And that made me really question things because, well, I had my problems growing up for sure. I didn't have the best childhood, but economy, food on the table was never an issue. And so I figured I have to try this for this reason. So doing a little bit of research, I don't even remember because I hadn't found out about the snake diet then yet. But I decided that a 5-day fast will be a big challenge for me, but it won't kill me. In fact, it won't be anywhere near killing me. And so I decided to do that. And when on the first day of that fast, or like 24 hours in or so, that's when I came across Cole. Started watching his videos, laughed my ass off, and he's yelling, "Hey, fatty!" And learned a lot from him about the snake juice, for instance, with the sodium and potassium that you drink during the fast. Well, it doesn't boost the weight loss or anything, just makes you feel better during the fast, basically. And so that 5-day fast was surprisingly easy, maybe because I had planned ahead for such a long time that I was doing it. But after that, I was just hooked. When I broke it, the food I ate tasted amazing. I had such a huge feeling of accomplishment, and just realizing this, that, hey, most people, it can be like, oh, I'm so hungry, I haven't eaten in 5 hours, and realizing that I don't eat for 5 days and be completely fine. This was just like, wow. So after this, I experimented with lots of 48-hour fasts. And I decided to try because I realized, because I was just getting into this, being an educator and motivator, inspirator about these kinds of things, So I figured if I'm gonna talk about the fasting, I have to have tried a lot of things, It's the same like with my physique, I want to have as crazy of a physique I can have, so that someone who would be happy with half of that can see that, hey, this guy knows what he's doing, I'll listen to him. Same with the fasting, that someone who doesn't have to do the most extreme things, well, they could still, look up to and take advice from someone who has done a lot more than what they even need to do. So I decided to try a 72-hour hard dry fast, which means not only not eating for 3 days, but not drinking water, not even touching water. And I didn't drink coffee, and I didn't use snus that I have here, tobacco pouches with nicotine you put under the lip. So I did that, and that was crazy, because that's even more than being away from food. You've heard that, no, you'll die with just days without water. And while it was tough, the funny thing was the stimulant part was definitely the toughest for me, even tougher than the water. And when I broke the fast, I broke it with coconut water that I hadn't tasted before, and I thought it was disgusting, and I actually wanted to spit it out. So again, just waking up to, shit, I thought I would be dead by now, but I can even, 3 days of not drinking any water, and by the way, using the sauna quite frequently during that dry fast, so dehydrating even more. Even being in that state, I can think a liquid is so disgusting that I want to spit it out. And so after this, I would just removing so many rewards, like calling water a reward, water a reward, like that. But I was like manic after this. And so after this point, to make a long story short, and I'll just go into what I think about the different fasting, I've done like 5 96-hour fasts or so, 72-hour fast, 48-hour fast, and 24 like shorter. I've done just so many times, I have no clue. The 72-hour fast is like my general favorite, the 72-hour snake juice fast. It's like the shortest long fast, if you understand what I'm saying, where you get the most benefits. And so I've done that, and recently, a few months ago, at the start of this summer, I went further than ever before and went over a week without eating anything, a snake juice fast. It's all documented on this channel, so if you just search for 1 week fast, you'll see I have a video from every day of that fast. Yeah, so let me tell you what I think about it. Well, first of all, fasting is my favorite way of losing weight in general. Like the 48 to 72-hour fasts, you can just shed off fat so quickly. After that point, like longer fasts can be an idea even for weight loss, especially if you're very overweight, but the body will notice that, hey, we are not getting any energy from outside, so it will try to preserve energy. And so it just makes sense that if you have more body fat, the body won't shut you down as much because it has more to eat from, but it will still happen to some extent. But so for that reason, it's not necessarily that you just have to push a fast as long as you can to lose the most weight. It can actually be a better idea to do the shorter long fast, like 48 to 72 hours, so that you can refeed, like put some fuel on the fire, keep the metabolism going in that way. So I think it's amazing for that reason, but also the way it removes food addiction is so amazing. When we're exposed to all these, artificially enhanced flavors, or just food in general is available in excess today. You don't have to go hunting or anything. You just go to the little store, put your little card in the machine there, and now you have food, So food in general is available in excess, but also junk food. And so we're exposed to these extreme tastes. And if you think about it, just think of a life when like candy and pizza and chips aren't available to you. Like, it's not that you're going to be bored with just eating regular food, because that's all you know. You're going to think just steak and potatoes and some vegetables and maybe a piece of fruit or something is, wow, what an amazing meal, But now, when we've been exposed to this, many of us, we can't help it, We were grown up in this environment, but just stating the facts here. We've been conditioned so that our baseline for taste, if this is what you're supposed to think is a really good taste, that you're exposed to these tastes, a little sweaty, getting excited, talking loudly to you like this. But when you've been exposed to so extreme tastes, like in comparison, it's like the hedonic treadmill thing. In comparison, regular food doesn't taste as nice. And also, it's so available that you can eat all the time. And the body, we are habitual creatures. The body with hormones, if you usually eat often during the day, like the body is gonna spike hunger hormones like ghrelin during those times. So you will feel hungry, like you need to eat faster, even when you don't actually need to eat, right? So with the fasting, both being away from food for so long, and then if you refeed on the clean foods, like don't go binging on the junk after the fast, you're gonna now, like your taste buds are connected to dopamine receptors, reward system receptors, and so you resynthesize them, and so you now have access to things in the taste of these healthier foods that you didn't before, and now they're gonna taste so much better. But also, of course, being able to be away from the foods for so long, you teach your body that, hey, we're fine. Look, we're doing fine. Even like at the start, when you get started with fasting, of course, you're gonna have your tough moments when you're hungry during the fast. It's like starting going to the gym. It's not nice when you're not fit, but it gets easier when you have adjusted to it. It's the same with fasting. So with the fasting and refeeding on good, healthy foods, not only is the 48 to 72-hour fast like a great way of just shedding off fat quickly, it will also help you keep the weight off by resynthesizing your taste buds and your relationship to food, so you will be happy eating healthier food and can be able to stay away from the junk more. Also, it will be easier for you. You won't get hungry as often. And even, to be honest, someone like me who's done very, very much fasting, even when I'm hungry, it's not that, when I feel I'm actually hungry, it's not that big of a deal for me. And again, because you're also doing this, going through this with a fasting and refeeding on healthy foods, you'll be able to tell the difference when you're just like, you just want something, you just want to treat yourself. You have that, I'm not finding the word, but kind of the urge. You just feel like eating something because it would be nice, you know, and being actually hungry, the body actually wanting energy. So that is very, very cool. So I'll say also another thing. Sorry. OMAD, 1 meal a day. Amazing routine for, I actually have a client that for like the skinny fat person to do a recomposition. That means build some muscle and lose fat at the same time. This gets harder as you get more fit. You'll have to choose one at a time more if you're gonna focus more on losing fat or focus more on building muscle. But the less used you are to it, it's like your body is like ready to build the muscle. It's been waiting for you because you haven't done this at all. And you have excess fat. It's also easier the more extra fat you have, the easier it is to build muscle while burning fat, because the body can make, you have to get enough protein and your micronutrients and stuff, but the body can make up more of the missing calories from the body fat. It gets harder for the body to do that as you get leaner. But so I have one client on a 1 meal a day routine, and he's kind of in the skinny fat position, like not super overweight, but definitely more fat than he should have and less muscle than he should have. And we haven't even been going for a month, and we're seeing great results already. And so I'm very excited to see what we can do together. But then, of course, you know, this is not the video where I tell you about all the health benefits, like, oh, you get the growth hormone spike, and you can reboot your immune system. Like those things you can go looking for. Those things are true, and but you should look at other sources. Here, I educate a lot by telling you about my experience about things. I am the study, you know. I'm a qualitative study, an N=1 study for you to see. I experiment a lot. You know, I'm quite clever. I think about and analyze and tell you my experience. And I, of course, because I myself educate myself, I will put some of that in. But the point of this video is not to list like the health benefits of fasting, but actually as a coach and an athlete and a person into fitness and health and just working on and improving myself in every way possible, I'm telling you my opinion about the fasting. And so one last thing that was unexpected to me with fasting, but that I think it's my favorite part of the fasting. It makes sense when you go through it and experience it, but it's not something you would think about before. But the impact on mental health and clarity and mood. Like, first of all, we talk about just the clarity you get by fasting. A lot of people, I can't focus when I don't eat. It's actually supposed to be the other way around. Like when you don't eat, your body is like heightens all your senses, because in another time, again, when you couldn't just put the little card in the machine and buy the food, you had to actually go hunting. It makes sense that the body is like, okay, we haven't eaten for a while. Let's turn everything up. The smell, your eyesight, your hearing. So you'll be more aware and more like, you know, in a hunter state, really. So it's great. Like, for instance, now recording this video, I do intermittent fasting, by the way, too. 16-8 most of the time, fast for 16 hours and eat 3 meals in a 8-hour eating window is my kind of baseline when I eat daily and don't do the prolonged fasting. But so, on a day like this, it's in the morning now, I record a video before eating because I have much more clarity and focus here. But the mental health part, the way I describe it, it's kind of again with like the hedonic treadmill thing. Like dopamine, the reward system, we're so spoiled with free dopamine hits from just eating junk, scrolling on the phone, social media, watching Netflix, like all these things. And the most basic needs we take for granted, like a roof over our head, warmth, comfort, food on the table. These most basic things, most of us living in the West have always been able to take this for granted. And so it's that leaves a lot more room for other worries. Like these little, I always take these examples, it's not really something I experience, but you know, little like, oh, I wonder what my colleagues at work think about me, or, oh, I see this person I kind of know on the street, should I say hi, or oh, I should just avoid, like all these little minor things, or even the things that can seem serious, like I'm so stressed out about my job, or my relationship, whatever it might be. But when you remove food that you would eventually die from, if you don't ever eat again, then you get the perspective. It's just when you haven't eaten for like 48 hours, it's kind of hard to care about, like, oh, I wonder if my colleagues doesn't like me. That person there, should I say hi or no? It's like, why would you even care? And so when I describe it to you this way, I think it makes sense, right? And so it's especially during the fast, you get into this kind of state. But after many, many times when I feel kind of stressed or maybe a little bit depressed about something in my life or something I'm worrying about, going into a fast, it's like you're forced to get pulled out of your perspective. And when you come back after the fast, you can look at everything with new eyes. And you see that, hey, maybe that wasn't such a big of a deal. So that is my like favorite thing about fasting that I never expected. But again, now I can see why it happens. So to summarize, the snake diet, doing the prolonged fasting, you'll get many of those health benefits that I won't go into so much in this video. Also, the fastest way of losing weight with a 48 to 72 hour fast. Also, the best way of removing your addiction to eating junk food and also having to eat all the time. Resetting your relationship to food to a healthy one. And also the mental health effect that I never would have expected. And also you learn kind of fasting, when you're fasting from something so fundamental as food that you will need in the end, you start to put two and two together about other things, like, hey, maybe I should stay away from social media for a while, or maybe I should take a break from this other thing. But in the same way you can reset your relationship to food, you can do these things with other things. I think many of you have done something similar, like a movie or a video game you really like, or you have watched it too much or replayed it too much, and you think, I need to wait for a long time before the next time I do it, so it's a bigger hit, I'll enjoy it more. That's something you learn from the fasting too. And yeah, it's another one, it all feeds into each other. You learn through training, going to the gym for an hour and maybe it doesn't feel all that great, but it makes me afterwards feel great all the time. Oh, taking a cold shower, it's very uncomfortable immediately, very uncomfortable, but right after I get a kick and I feel gratitude just from experiencing room temperature. And the same with fasting. Going through a few days of not eating, the rest of the days are gonna feel amazing, So I think I'll put the end there. That's my little review, like just my spontaneous opinions about the fasting. I'm sure there are other things I could go into, and I have many videos on this channel when I do that, but just without planning it at all, and just speaking from my heart, what I feel about it, these are the things I think of. So if you like this video, please like, it helps a lot, helps more people find the channel. Please leave a comment, what did you think, any questions you have about fasting, or any comment, just put algorithm comment if you just want to help me out. The channel is picking up, but I feel like there's a lot of people. It's always going to be a smaller channel. I'm not going for a huge channel. Quality over quantity always, but I get a feeling that there's a lot of more people of you out there that could be interested. So if you're one of those that just found this video, first thing you see with me, please subscribe for more content about fitness, fasting, general self-improvement, but also little philosophical, uncommon sense takes on relationships, life, society, things like that. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Peace.